What's happening? How is everybody doing? All right, all right, all right. Phenomenal financial freedom is back, and we're talking about beating inflation. How those gas prices doing? How are those gas prices doing? I'm not going to be long. Thank you guys for watching the past 3 weeks. I realize people love when groups get together to talk. They're not so excited about money, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that wants to know about inflation. How are those gas prices? How are those gas prices? Boy, oh boy. I well, just to do some homework. Number one, remember to get my book, The Phenomenal STEM is How to Be a Successful or Prepare a Successful Student from the Womb to University. I'm doing just fine. I'm on spring break. I'm not traveling anywhere, so I don't feel any pinch at the pump as yet. Um, Thankfully, that my job is pretty good. I'm able to afford the gas increase. Not that back in back in the Bush era, it was it was about this as well. Whenever there's war, there's increase in oil. Um, and then I did two side hustles today. Shout out to you guys on Phenomenal Financial Freedom. Remember what I said? Multiple streams of income, and I did not leave my house. Two jobs that I was able to do totally on my computer, um, that paid me well. Didn't leave my house. And it's because I have a STEM degree. I'm not to say that other degrees aren't good, and other degrees doesn't afford that ability, but all I know is STEM careers allow for that. So shout out. I'm gonna get into that a little bit. So remember to get my book on Amazon. If you want to know where it is, you can go directly to my website, www.phenomenalstemist.com. There's a link to Amazon where you can purchase my book, or have your kid take part of the STEM camps, whether it be all year, 3 months, or just 1 month in the summer. All right, homework over. Good to see you guys. Glad that you could be here. My mom says 4.29 regular at the Wawa. Oh man, it was 4.19 yesterday. 4.19. It jumped 10 cents in a day. I got mine for 4.09. I'm seeing things like 4.99. It's crazy the gas prices. Who's watching with me? Like I see a few people watching. A couple of people from YouTube, I think. Uh, Chat in. Feel free to chat and tell me where you're coming from. How are your gas prices? I paid $4.09 yesterday. And last year we were in glee when it was down to two something. Listen, things move. Prices go up. Oil prices go down. Key thing is, are you prepared when prices skyrocket versus when prices plummet? I'm looking at the chicken wing prices. Like, how much is it? Was $17. You know how we go to the Publix and get that little box of chicken wings that you go to you bring to parties and stuff. You don't feel like cooking your own chicken wings. You just go to Publix, pick up some chicken wings, and bring it into the potluck. Those things used to cost $7, $8. They are now $17. I used to order chicken wings and fried rice from the Chinese store. I don't do that no more. I don't do that no more. No, no. It's crazy. Well, what is the cause of inflation? Listen, over time things get more pricey. We call it the worst tax ever. You ever heard of, like, the only thing that you can have promise is death and taxes? Well, it's death, taxes, inflation. Um, you know, eh, in the past people would say, "Oh, in my day, cabbage was 10 cents. Now it's $3." This is why it's so important to not save too much cash. over time. Because truthfully, $100,000  10 years ago is totally different than $100,000 this year. So if all you save is $100,000, you're proud of yourself that you saved $100,000. Well, you can buy a third of what you could buy when you started saving. When I was in college 20 years ago, it cost me 10 grand, 10 to 15 grand a year. That same college, that same institution where you'll put your children, when you went 20 years ago, it was 10 to $15,000 a year. Now it's $30,000 a year. It has doubled. So what is it saying? Meaning, if you had $100,000 in 1996 to 2000, like me during college, then I really just have $50,000 now. You understand? Your money is only worth what you could pay for it with. That's inflation. The ultimate, the worst tax ever. It rips you of your finances. So holding cash is even depreciable. I talk about depreciable items, things that depreciate over time in values. Cash does as well. Oh no. So you thought it was just cars. You thought it was just furniture and certain types of clothes and shoes and jewelry. You thought that was the only thing that depreciates over time. Well, cash does too. Cash does too. And so, how do you protect yourself against this inflation? You can't hold too much cash. You got to get rid of debt. Debt, for sure increases in time. We call that interest. So get rid of the debt. Why hold all this cash that depreciates over time while your credit card debt and your car loan debt and your mortgage debt is increasing over time. That for sure is increasing via compound interest while your cash is plummeting. Why do you should have an emergency fund and that's it. I don't believe in having tons and tons of cash around. You have an emergency fund and pretty much that's it. Everything else goes to get rid of your debt or investments. Investments. So I was reading some articles on how to curb inflations and I want to share with you and I'll be gone. I read 2 articles. You can find it on Phenomenal Financial Freedom. Shout out to all of you who are watching from the group. 2 articles, the CNBC article and the Investopedia article, and there was this great video that he really, really went into the detail. I think he's the CEO of Robinhood. I think he's pretty cool. He really broke down inflation 101. So check out that video, watch that inflation 101 video, and check out the articles that I'm going to discuss. First one from Investopedia. They said to invest in 3 things. How do you curb against inflation? I'm chilling, y'all. I'm not sweating this. There's this meme I saw. It's like y'all tripping off of gas prices. I thought y'all were catching flights and just securing the bag and getting those 6. Shoot, I am. I ain't tripping off of gas prices. Gas is gonna go up. Gas is gonna go down. I did my side hustle twice today. I got 2 side hustles. It'll pay for the gas the gas increase. Uh, why? Because I invested in myself. I invested in myself. 3 things: invest in yourself, invest in stocks, invest in real estate. 3 things they tell you. How do you fight against inflation so that you're chilling, catching flights? Like I just flew in from Colorado. How do you chill while the rest of the world is going crazy off of the gas prices? Man, I mean, besides trusting in the Lord, obviously, because He's the only one that can sustain you, number one, obviously, right? But practically outside of that spiritual component, you got to invest in yourself. Create multiple streams of income in which needs of the community, needs of industry are met by you and you alone. When you do that, streams of income come. Invest in yourself. Number 2, invest in real estate. Real estate usually, despite the crash of 2008, and that was usually because they were targeting people like us that weren't doing due diligence, right? But outside of being targeted and doing your own research and doing diligent research, Real estate, having a home, getting rid of debt in the home, that fights against inflation. Number three, stocks. Stocks that appreciates over time. Inflation, is going to come immediately. You're not going to be able to fight inflation immediately, but you fight inflation over time. You fight inflation over time. My mom is serious. You're right. Too old to create multiple streams of income. I don't think you're ever too old to create multiple streams of income, but you I don't think you're ever you listen, our my grand aunt celebrated her 100th year birthday. 100 years. So ma, you got a good 30 odd years left. Like 30, the stock market can move in 30 years. We are aging and we listen, I don't even believe that you should even wind down your stocks when you're older in your 70s, because now people in their 70s are living to their 90s, 20 years. Now, should you have most of your money in safe investments? Absolutely, but you need to put away a little bit of money in the stock market. There's a little bit to put that at risk to grow for 30 years, so that when you are older and can't provide for yourself, the money that you've invested in your 70s, you're not too old for these multiple streams. Nope. All right. So that's Investopedia. They just made mention three things: invest in yourself, invest in your home stocks. CNBC, which is a business channel, is a little bit more detailed as to other ways to curb against inflation. The number one they used, and I believe in it. I have it. I have a fund, a tips fund in my portfolio. TIPS. TIPS. I learned this from Susie Orman 20 years ago. This is the value. This is the value of reading and getting information. I remember 20 odd years ago, I watched Susie Orman like crazy, just like some of you millennials and Gen Zs are watching me now, and I have nothing to as a I'm not a professional. Neither was Susie Orman. She had a CNBC channel and she said about these things, these tips. She said, just buy tips, not a lot of it, but always have some tips around to protect against inflation. And I bought tips. I had a tips ETF. I think it's Charles Schwab. So it's SCHP, I think is the ticker number. And over time, I would just put, I have this pie chart, if you remember, and you're supposed to have diversified portfolio, a little bit of safety. Tips were always one of my safety. Gold and tips are usually my safety stocks. And I bought tips a while ago. I have lots of tips. So right now tips are increasing while the stock market is crashing. Because I've balanced my portfolio, my tips are going up through the roof. TIPS stands for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. I'm not sure you could buy tips now. Here, you probably could buy tips ETF now, but it's more expensive now than it ever was because of inflation. But because I learned something a while back and I bought these TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, now they're providing dividends for me. Delani says stocks are on sale. Buy, buy, buy. Fed through cold water by raising rates, making stocks cheaper still. Buy more. Listen, I'll say this again. These are my friends. We are a group on phenomenal financial freedom. We are not. Well, Delani is. Delani is a finance professional. I am not a financial professional. He's not giving financial advice through his profession. We're just friends talking. And I always say, I've said this at the beginning of the year, stocks would be on sale. But remember, in order for rich people to get richer, stocks need to go on sale. Because I remember the beginning of the year, it was pretty much a flat prediction, meaning the stock market would not be much different um in the end of the year as how it started. So if it's not that much different in the end of the year and how it started, that means it's not going to increase that much. So how do rich people get rich? They get rich buy the stock market and go crashing down, they buy low and it comes back to where it was. So you gotta when it crashes, you can't be afraid. We've seen it. You've been with me, but I've been with me for 8 years. We've seen it. Crashes down in the same year. Look what happened last year around this time. Same time, March, April, the stock market crashed like crazy. Chase was at $80. Chase was at $80. How much is Chase now? Zulani, somebody, can somebody check out Chase, the ticker price for Chase right now? What's the ticker price for Chase? JPM. 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 My computer is slow. I have like 3 computers. Anybody know the ticker symbol for JPM? I mean, the stock price for JPM right now. It's I don't see it here. JPM. That's right, Delani. Buy the dips. Buy the dips. I'll look at it myself. I have to use the same computer as JPM. Stock is $133 right now, and that's cheap. That's cheap because it was, I think the high was 140, 170. Whoa. So the high this year was 170 JPM, JP Morgan Chase. 170, and back in 2021 it was 80. The stock market trashed so much. And what did I do? I picked it up. I picked some up at 80. And like it's at 133 now. Like that's a serious dip. 133 from 170. That's what for how much is that? Like $40? Think about it. $40. $13 is 10%. At another 13, that's 20%. Whoa, I might have to buy some. So anyway, invest in stocks. Buy the dips. Let me read what Delani said actually. Market has entered correction territory near the death cross. Crash is here. It's about Christmas. It's about to be Christmas and summer. I'm telling you, what is a crash or a correction territory? Anything below 10%. Anything below 10%. So I'm gonna share my screen with you. And so you can see. Hold on one second. So you can see this what I'm talking about. This is just this JPM stock, right? This is just the JPM stock. And just the JPM stock, 133, 17%. 17% year to date. That anything 10% and below is a correction. You guys understand? It's a serious correction. And so if I look at just the S&P 500, S&P 500 year to date, it's down just 10%. You see that? So there is a steeper dip at JPM, meaning the bank stock that I bought at $80 is still higher, is at 139. I still made money from last year. But if I buy the dip, the 17% dip, I'm getting JP Morgan stock almost 20% off discount. Stocks stocks go down. Am I to be afraid? No, because over time it beats inflation. See, inflation is gonna rob you of your money. Inflation is gonna rob you of your money. But as I said before, how are rich folk gonna get rich? They buy the dips. They buy the dips and it's Christmas and summer. When I bought $80 in March, it jumped to 170 by the end of the year. I doubled whatever money I invested in JP Morgan, I doubled it. Why? Because I took the risk and bought the dip. Yeah, yeah. So invest in stocks because they always increased over time. Now, am I a believer that you should do those dips? No, you just dollar cost average. Some people are just safe in their dollar cost average. Me, I dollar cost average, and then when I see drastic dips like this, I take the plunge. What else should you invest in? They say to invest in gold. So gold ETFs. That's what I have. Exchange traded funds. I have a gold ETF. They say commodities, oil, agriculture. I mean, you see the gas prices go up. I'm not really a fan of gas, but some people do that. Some people invest in cryptocurrency. That's what CNB says invest in your tips. That's the safest bet. Have some cash short term, a little bit of cash short term, but not a lot of cash because remember that's your worst enemy. It depreciates in time because of inflation. Gold, commodities, and cryptocurrency. That's all I got for you guys. I hope this helps. Um, don't be afraid. Remember, Investopedia says invest in yourself. And when you create give yourself skill sets, right? My two side hustles that I did today made more money than the stock market. Like I'm a believer in investing in yourself, giving yourself a set of skills so that you can provide a service to others that they'll pay you way more than 10%, 20% in the stock market. You understand? So invest in yourself, invest in real estate, invest in stocks, specifically tips, gold, commodities, and then be a little bit of risky in cryptocurrency. You guys have a great night. Trust in God. Don't be afraid. Truth be told, I really believe history says men use war to make money. So pray for the people of Ukraine, and I'm sorry that they have to go through this, but it was World War II that got the world out of the depression. That's what they do. Let the world be the world. Trust in God. Invest in yourself and people. Have a good night, everybody.